And we might as well start a little bit on the trade numbers. The exports for the last fiscal year, which ended in June, our total exports were at 1.3 billion, and we were very pleased with that. All categories were up. We were up 34% for the 5 years of the long-range plan for total exports. Frozen, D-high, frozen I think it was up about 48%, D-high 22%, fresh was over 30%. So a lot of success during that 5-year period. And then so far, this first 6 months of the marketing year, of this current marketing year and the beginning of the new long-range plan, our exports are up, continue to grow over that record level. Everything across the board is close to 30% up again for those first 6 months. So we're very pleased. We are a little apprehensive about the impact that the tight supplies and high prices in the U.S. versus the very low prices and excessive supplies you're seeing out of Europe, China, and some other suppliers, that we may lose a little bit of market share in the short term, but we think that our programs and the commitment of the industry will be able to regain that. From a product standpoint, I think that fresh, if we can overcome these market access barriers, has in essence the most potential for future growth because there are untapped markets. I mean, frozen is currently everywhere. There will be expansions in demand for frozen, as you know. One of the latest things is sort of a random thing we didn't talk about today, is that Burma is now looking at putting in QSRs. I mean, part of their expansion. I mean, so that process will continually occur. But with the fresh product, if we can increase access to Mexico, if we can get into Philippines and Indonesia, with the free trade agreement for Korea that expands our access there. China is difficult, but we still don't have access there. So there are these access barriers that, if they are overcome, create huge opportunities. Seed is, the whole scale of everything is much smaller, obviously, the level of exports and everything. But again, there are barriers. Egypt, like we talked about in the presentation today, is the world's largest market for seed. Most people don't understand how that works, but what happens, just as a little background, is that they import seed from Europe, they grow the potatoes in the winter, and then sell them to Europe in the spring when the Europeans don't have any of their own, because they don't store as long as we do. So there's about a 3 to 4 month gap in there that the Egyptians fill. But if we can gain and solidify market access into Egypt, there's frozen fry processing, there's a lot of chip processing, plus the table stock demand. We feel that some of our varieties are better suited for those situations than the European varieties they're using now, and certainly have much less disease pressure, and we have a much higher quality seed. So we could see that being becoming a pretty important market. And that's, we've been working on seed in relatively small markets. Nicaragua, DR, they're good markets, but they're relatively small. Now we're talking about a whole different magnitude of size of this. I mean, that continues to be our major avenue, our major target markets. Vietnam coming on. We talked a lot about the young population there and the growth of over 10% a year in their GDP. These opportunities are fantastic. We've really solidified our situation in Vietnam, and as that grows, I think the U.S. will be able to take advantage of it. Japan will always remain to be our most important market, but you look at China, and when you combine in Hong Kong to that, and even if you by extension even add Taiwan and go, some people call it the whole greater China thing, it starts to be a really significant market. So yes, our focus will remain in Asia. Of course, Mexico and Central America are very important as well.